We're here at the 2009 Commodity Classic, and Field to Market, the Keystone Alliance for Sustainable Agriculture, has just introduced a Fieldprint Calculator. And with me to walk through this calculator and show it just how easy it is for a grower to use is Doug Goring, who grows corn, soybeans, and wheat in North Dakota. Hi, Doug. And Doug explained to us here during a press conference exactly, a little bit about how this calculator works. And the idea is to help a grower, right? Well, you tell me, what is the idea, Doug?
Well, the idea is to actually show how U.S. agriculture measures up when we talk about sustainability. Mm-hmm. We actually have a far greater contribution to sustainability than anybody had ever thought before, just because of the conservation practices, the systems, and the technology that have been adopted by our industry in the last decade or so. And as we've moved forward, as we start to look at this and we start to look at metrics to measure that, we found out that we actually fare very well globally. And this tool is going to help us.
We'll show here.
Here it is when you get to the...
this is the fieldtomarket.org homepage, right?
Yes.
And then you click on the Field to Market calculator there.
Yep.
That's how it starts.
It's
ideally
supposed to, but we're having a little bit of problem there.
Soon,
so we'll just go right
ideally,
over.
that's where it is. Okay.
Go to start.
Okay.
Now I happen to live in North Dakota, so here
that's
I put in North Dakota.
Put in your state.
And was irrigation applied to these crops during the 2008 growing season? I have no. I happen to be a no-till farmer in the semi-arid region with no irrigation. You can apply all the crops that are applicable to your farm operation. Maybe you do cotton, wheat, soybean, and corn.
You can do them one at a time or do them all at once?
You can do them all at once.
Okay.
And then what you would do is you would submit this information.
Okay.
You go to the sustainability map.
Okay.
This is, and if you see the lines in here, it actually is doing things by region, but data was actually collected on a state-by-state level through NAS, National Ag Statistics Service, and also they pull the trend line yields for production of those commodities at the national level, because that's what they're going to be looking at, land use.
I see.
Now, you go over here to land use, and you start looking at, okay, we have corn, for example. I have 700 acres. If we do soybeans, I planted, actually, that's somebody else's figure. I'm about 500 acres. Okay. And I'm not a 70, 80 bushel yield. That is definitely not my place. I'm more like 20, 30 bushel.
So your representative yield, though, would be just an average or your trend line over the last 5 years or so?
My representative yield is my personal yield.
Yeah, okay.
And that's going to be in there. And I'll show you
but
something.
Like last year or over the last 5 years? Are you taking an average or what?
I would, myself, I would use my average or an APH year, actual production history. And you can do it over 5 year, you can do it over 10 year. If you want to do Olympic average, throw out the high and the low and work from that. It's up to you as an individual. Okay. And then you can plug in your wheat, and you can put in your yield there. Now, as you hit each one of these, you'll notice that it changes as your cursor moves over. That's where we're at. Okay. Now we go on to soil loss, and there are going to be different things in here. And again, as we refine this tool, certain questions may not apply to you in your situation as a no-till producer or a minimum till or a strip-till producer, but they're going to have them in here because we need to address everything because we have conventional tillage also. Sure. So here we can look at slope, and in this situation I just put in 2% slope length, 700 to 800 feet. You have more there. Here are your different types of soils. You have clay, you have silt, sand, loam, sandy clay, silty clay, sandy clay loam, silty clay loam, silty loam, sandy loam, and loamy sand. I happen to be a sandy loam, so we'll put that in. Then it asks for the previous crop in the prior year in 2008. Right. Now, we have talked with, and I'm going to continue to talk with Joe about this, we may have to look at some different scenarios because not all the time will corn be going back onto a wheat stubble field in that rotation. In some scenarios, I will be doing corn back onto soybeans. I see. In the same way, when you look at soybeans, it may be going over to corn for grain. And with wheat, I don't have anything in it, but I won't go through all this. But it gives you an idea. Now, you may have some other conservation practices such as cover crop, contouring, terracing, strip cropping, vegetative filter strips. So, you know, there's a bunch of different things there that can apply to your situation. Mark all that apply. Down here we talk about wind erosion. You have light, moderate, or heavy. In my situation, I have none. Even with the high winds, it was, why didn't I do that? Okay, there we go. And which pre-plant tillage system best describes your practice? Here you can look at so many different things such as strip till, mulch till, reduced tillage, conventional, intensive, and no-till, so I put in the no-till.
Now, with this, I mean, for a producer, it might vary.
Absolutely.
But, I mean, from field to field, even. Soil
Most
type,
of,
it could. Yeah.
Most of the time, producers are going to follow they're probably going to follow their prescribed method of planting or tillage. They may certainly deal with soils differently, and some of that comes into when it may actually be planted. Timing is an issue,
right?
Just because of the type of soil. Now, still, we're working off from this is actually set up on national average. If you look at this here, set this on a state average, and look what happens. That moves. So does your soil loss indicator. Because as you go state by state, and this is actually set up to do regional and county. Now, that's not into the system yet. We're still working on that, but I just want to point that out. This is going to become very personalized for you, and it's going to be confidential. Now, I'll skip over the irrigation because, quite frankly, I don't irrigate.
Right.
They have an energy use in here. Well, you got to watch because as you flip through these, it'll give you different things. But anyways, that's where we're at. And also, and because some of these things are not all the way, maybe they're not turned on or some aren't refined yet. I'm not going to push some of them because we're not going to get anything out of them. And you can do summary. Summary still has to be refined, but it'll give you an idea of where you're
summary. Now this is what you got, like that spider web kind of thing you called it.
Spider
and
graph.
this is going to show you your field print, like it's a footprint, right?
Exactly.
I see.
Because you'll have right up here land use. It tells you where you're at. Close these things up. You have land over here. You have your climate impact, your water use, and your soil loss. It's a very unique type of.
So ideally, it's going to help a grower know where he stands right now, and help him perhaps improve by adjusting some of the variables that you put into this calculator.
Absolutely. You go back in this system, and you can run a real life scenario without actually having to go out to the field and do it.
Yeah.
Because they've gathered so much data to actually do the work for you by just running different scenarios in there.
Okay, very good. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.